Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing good. Today we are going to do another, hopefully, review topic for you, but we are going to start with matching the graph to the correct equation to go over what we learned on Friday. So take a minute, match your graphs to your equation, and then we will keep moving on. Okay, so we're going to talk about writing an equation of a line. We're going to do it from a given slope and y-intercept, from a graph, and from 2 points. So we're going to start with the simplest and kind of work our way to the most difficult. Okay, the first thing you need to refresh your brain on is slope-intercept form. We've talked about it already, but y equals mx plus b. M is our slope. B is our y-intercept, or where it crosses the y-axis. Okay, so if we were to just write equations, if we're given a slope and a y-intercept, we are just going to go through and put those in. So let me actually switch to a different screen so that we can work through these. Again, we are just going to take and apply this as our m value and this as our b value. So our equation would say y equals 1/2 x plus 5. Simple as that when you're given a slope and a y-intercept. So this next one says you have a slope of -3 and a y-intercept of -1. So it would say y equals -3x minus 1. Okay, that's as simple as it needs to be when it comes to writing an equation when you have a slope and a y-intercept. Okay, so now we're going to talk about writing an equation from a graph. Okay, and this is going to be something where you're going to have to find where it crosses the y-axis, and you're going to have to find your slope. Okay, sometimes you can do your slope by counting it. Sometimes we're going to be using that slope formula that we used last week. So in this case, we have a y-intercept of 0, 3. So 3 automatically becomes your b value. And we know we are going to go up 4 over 2, because the difference between 7 and 3 is 4, and 0 and 2 is 2. So 4 over 2 is 2, and so that is where that equation came from. Okay? So now we're going to go through one that is not as obvious. Okay? The y-intercept is obvious, thankfully, but we're going to have to work a little harder to find the slope. So let me pull this up. So we know that this is our y-intercept, so this is our b value. So sometimes I just start by making like a generic equation. I know that I'm going to put some value here next to x, and 4 is coming in here. And now we're going to figure out what our slope is. And because this is a nice gridded line, we know that we're going to be able to actually count our slope. So we're going to go up 2 over 3, and so we know that our slope is 2/3. So the equation of that is y equals 2/3 x plus 4. Okay, let's try this one again. Right, it's a little bit different. Again, it has a y-intercept that is given to us, and it is a nice gridded line, so we should be able to find the slope fairly simple. So again, I'm going to start by just writing my basic beginning equation where I know it's going to be plus 6 because that is my y-intercept. And then I'm going to go up. So I'm going to go up 6 and over 3. So up 6 over 3 is 6 over 3, or 2 for my slope. So the equation of this line is y equals 2x plus 6. So now we're going to talk about the one that's the most difficult, and it's only the most difficult because you have to do some equation solving and there's a little bit more room for error. So we're just going to step by step go through and do this. So this is if you're given 2 points and you need to come up with your equation. So the first thing that you're going to do is find the slope by using the slope formula that we used last week. And then we're going to pick a point to use, plug the slope and point into our y equals mx plus b. We're going to solve for b, and then we're going to rewrite it. So we're going to walk through this step by step. Okay, so here is an example. This one's already done for you, but you can see that this has 2 values, 2 point values, and that they plugged it into our slope formula and found that the slope was equal to 2. Okay, now they chose to use the point 3, 4 to put back into y because this is an x and a y value to solve for b, and then that's how the equation came about. So there is a little bit more step-by-step process that goes in these ones. So we're going to work through that. Okay. If you are a person who likes to screenshot things on your phone for future reference, this would be definitely one I would screenshot through there. All right, so we're going to find the equation of the line. So I'm actually going to pull this back up so that we can kind of walk through step by step what we are doing. Ooh, there we go. All right, so the very, very first thing that we're going to do is find our slope. And I'm going to call this x1, y1, x2, y2, and we're going to plug it in. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 gives me negative 10 over 2 or negative 5, and that is my slope. Okay. I noticed last week some people were mixing up their x and y, so you want to make sure you're labeling and plugging into the formula as it needs to be, okay? So now we're going to take this and we're going to choose one of the points. It doesn't matter which point you use. For this one, I'm just going to use the first point. So I am going to take my m value and I am going to take this point and I am going to plug it into y equals mx plus b. I am going to replace y with 6. I'm going to replace x with 1, and I'm going to replace m with negative 5. Oop, it looks like I froze for a second, so give me just a minute to refresh this. Okay, so again, 6 goes where y is, 1 goes where x is, m is negative 5. So that this should look like 6 equals negative 5 times 1 plus b. And now this is an equation we can solve for b. So I would take negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. To solve for b, I would add 5 to the other side. And I get b is equal to 11. Now I have an m and a b, and I can rewrite my equation to say negative 5x plus 11. And that is my final answer for slope-intercept form. Okay, so you can see that if you're not a very organized person as you're going through and doing your work, that there might be some places where you can make some errors. So going step by step, going through this process slowly is going to be something that's beneficial. Okay, we're going to go through another one of these. All right, here's the next one. Again, I'm going to pull up this screen so that we can work through it together. Okay, so again, I'm going to go through and label x1, y1, x2, y2. All right, and I'm going to plug into my formula y1 minus y2, or sorry, y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So 1 minus 5 is negative 4. 2 minus a negative 2 becomes a positive 4. So my slope is equal to negative 1. And for this one, I'm going to grab the second point because I grabbed the first point in the first one. So it doesn't really matter. And then my x and y value are going to be the 0.21. And again, I'm going to plug that in to my equation. So 1 goes where negative 1 goes where m is. 1 goes where y is. 2 goes where x is. So that tells me this is going to look like 1 equals -1 times 2 plus b. -1 times 2 is -2. To solve this for b, I would add 2 to the other side. B is going to be 3. And now I have a slope and a y-intercept to say that my equation is going to be -1x plus 3. You could also just write it as -x plus 3. Okay, you don't have to put a -1 in front. Both of those are the exact same equation and will both be okay for full credit. Okay, so I'm going to have you do a little bit of practice now. Okay, you're going to practice each type of question that we just did. So the first one is you're already given your M and B. Your second one is given a slope. And then your third one is given 2 points. Okay, I guess I need to get out of there so that you can see it. So that is the 3 that you're going to do. And you're going to plug your answers into the Edpuzzle so that we can see how you're doing on this. Okay, so take a minute to answer these 3 questions. All right, so now that you're done with that, we're going to just go through, and your assignment for today is to complete this exit ticket. Okay, there's just a few questions on there that is going to give you some good practice. You need to score you need to score a 5 out of 7 on it in order for you to get full credit for this exit ticket. Okay, so there's a little bit of practice on a little bit of all the types of equations that we solved today. Okay, and like always, if you are confused, if you need extra help, please reach out to me. Please come to office hours so that I can give you some one-on-one tutoring if you're still confused about some of these concepts. Okay, have a good day. Bye.